Anti-black racism has had an effect on us as black Americans, and it has brought us, a lot of trauma, depression. It's brought us, self-esteem issues if you let it get to you. Case in point, our sister's going to tell a story about, how black people just felt during the 1960s, and it still affects her, the trauma, to this day. Let's go ahead and roll that.
And really not being able to process why. Why are these people so angry with me? Why are they calling me this? Why wasn't I supposed to ride across the street anyway? Why? Nobody ever talked about that. I think that when I was growing up, black folks just accepted some things. This is just the way it is. And like I said, even, with the exception of this really, really poignant thing that my mom said to me at 10, which really, again, is one of those things I will never forget. And it did change my perspective to some degree. And of course, she followed it up with other things. She put me in charm school and, other things like that to try to help me. But yes, I think that if we hadn't been so afraid to talk about that, black folks were scared of white people. I mean, I grew up afraid of white people. I grew up feeling intimidated by white folks. I grew up not feeling like I was as good as they were. And if you hear a tinge of anger in my voice, I'm still mad as hell about that. Because I feel like maybe my ACT scores wouldn't have been as low as they were if I had felt like I had a chance or I was as good as they were. So yes, it should have been talked about. We should have been empowered. But it was the time. It was just the time. People were afraid.
Now, seeing this video and hearing what this sister has to say, I definitely felt that in the time period they lived in, they were dealing with terrorism, white supremacist terrorism. That's what they were dealing with in the 1960s. And they had to fight back, and they had to they had to burn buildings. They had to fight. They had to do all kinds of things, right? Just to get to this place that we're at today. And the one key word the sister was saying, that if they were empowered not to be afraid of these folks. Now, you fast forward to today, 2024, black folks don't look at them like they experienced them in the 1960s. We're not tripping on them at all. Black folks today, please. You know what I'm saying? But we have to continue the work, because we have to finish the job that our ancestors got started. Some that who have passed away, and some, brothers and sisters who are, living today. We need those stories coming from sisters like this, brothers, around that age, telling us how it is and how it was. The only disappointing part is when people in that age group get all on the side of Democrats, when the Democrats is, they feel in their mind the Democrats are good people, but they're not. The Democrats are no different than the Republican. They are the same. And they're not about the empowerment of black people. Sure, they give you a government program, but these government programs will not get you out of poverty, will not bring you into wealth or anything else that you want, right? Because if the Democrats really cared about our people, they would be all of them on board with reparations in the form of cash payments. And when I looked at the Democrats, the majority of Democrats don't support reparations. Y'all forget the Republicans. We're talking about the Democrats. And they're supposed to be our friends that we go vote for every election. The Democrats are going to look out for us. And then they lie and say, well, if you want reparations, you got to put in Democrats. They're the only people willing to do it. That's not according to the numbers. Because a lot of them say the same things Republicans say about reparations. They don't want black Americans to be made whole. Our people been through a lot in this country, a lot. And we got to continue to make sure things are, done right for our children, because we don't want our children to go through, even what we're going through today. It's utterly ridiculous of some of the things that we deal with as a community today, or some of the ways we have regressed in some ways versus even during the time period of that sister, right? But I feel for this sister because, she probably thinking if I didn't feel that way, I wouldn't have been held back doing certain things I wanted to do. That's why when I look at racism I look at discrimination against black folks, especially with the folks, I don't, no, because you're not going to hold me back like that. There's enough. We still being held back in the area of sabotage. But we got to continue to fight and continue to press on and make sure that we can make it better for our children. Because, whether people agree with some things of the civil rights movement, they did fight back in a lot of ways. So we wouldn't have some of the opportunities that we have today as black Americans. But, that trauma that she dealt with back in the past, we're still dealing with that trauma. That's why we need reparations, because reparations would help us deal with some of these traumas that we have, and it's constantly still being traumatized, in this country. We have to keep fighting. Even sometimes we get tired, we want to throw in the towel, give up sometime. We have to keep fighting. It's just period. We have to keep doing that. Because if we don't, we're not going to, we'll fail our ancestors if we don't keep fighting and see it through. Because some of these other people that leave their country and all that, they gave up. They not trying to fight anything. They have the attitude, I couldn't beat them, so I'm going to join them. And then they get upset with us when they see us fight because it makes them feel some sort of way, because we not saying, well, we going to join them. We say, no, we stand against them, and we fighting on a moral high ground to do that, not to be subjugated and treated bad. So I hate our sister, feels this way. I hate that, but we got to keep fighting, just so we can see it through.